Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Wake Up and Smell the Tauntaun. I am your host, John Maffio, and it's been a while since the last episode, but a few things to talk about. First of all, I went to Galaxy's Edge last week. I'm still missing it. I did a whole Orlando trip with the family. We went to Disney World for one day, and I got the chance to go to Galaxy's Edge for a couple hours. I went on the Millennium Falcon ride twice, once in the morning, and we went back at night, and I went back on a second time. I was engineer both times, didn't get to ride and pilot the Falcon, but it was still fun regardless. I had the greatest time, even though it's just basically you're pushing buttons. When you're a gunner or an engineer, you kind of just like pushing buttons on the side to help whoever's driving the Falcon, whoever's piloting it, get through the mission. But just the queue getting through to the actual deck of the ship, and then going through the whole process, like I just had a really good time. Everything is very beautifully done visually, aesthetically. I think there's some things missing that could be more life injected into the actual park with some alien characters and more stormtroopers. It's cool seeing Kylo Ren and Rey and Chewbacca and a couple rebels running around doing their thing. I never saw the new rebel character and the new Resistance character who's running around with the purple dyed hair. But I'm excited for the new ride. I'll be in Anaheim next year for Star Wars Celebration. I'll be going on that new ride when we get there, so I'm excited to go on that ride finally in about a year. But today, I talked about it yesterday, but we have a new trailer, final trailer for Rise of Skywalker. It's the movie that's ending the Skywalker saga. It seems pretty final, it's concluding. We're definitely going to get more movies, obviously. Star Wars is never going to... Star Wars is going to outlive us. It's going to outlive our kids' kids' kids. It's going to be going... As long as movies exist, Star Wars will be around. But the thing that we grew up with since 77, or people who grew up with the prequels, or kids who are growing up with this new trilogy of movies, it's ending here. But today, on this episode, I want to do a little breakdown of the trailer, and I haven't really ever done it. I don't think I've ever done like an actual breakdown of analyzing the trailer before, but I just want to go through piece by piece, because when I watched the trailer for the video last night, I gave my initial thoughts and reactions, and things were happening so fast that I kind of just reacted to a couple things, and I didn't really have a proper reaction, I think. So I can actually review this now. And last time for The Last Jedi, I didn't watch the final trailer. I mentioned that in the last video too. But this time, J.J. Abrams isn't going to give away anything big. If he does, it's misleading, and you could analyze, you can come to your own conclusions, but we're going to see if we can find some really juicy stuff in here. I'm sure you've watched hundreds, if not more, videos, people analyzing the trailer, but I want to throw my 2 cents in. I want to chime in on this whole thing. So without further ado, let's begin. Okay, so we have our Lucasfilm, and it looks like, I thought this was Yavin 4 or maybe Endor, and I was looking for Ewoks, but then we see this. It looks like Rey is training a little bit. I've heard other people say that she might be like actually in a hectic situation, running away from something. Like she's really intensely in the moment right now, whatever she's doing here. But we saw in the last trailer with her swiping the lightsaber around, like cutting trees down. I think she's just in intense training mode. This could be the beginning of the movie. Maybe she's been training a lot since the end of Last Jedi, where the Resistance has been slowly building itself back together since it mostly got wrecked. There was like 10 or 11 people left at the end of the last movie. So this could be Yavin 4. It could be Endor. It could be a new jungle planet. It's very lush and green, and I really like it. And then it cuts there. Oop, I almost had a little buffering there. So obviously they're doing JD doing some parallels in his filmmaking of bringing her training or whatever she's doing in the beginning of this trailer to, I'm guessing, I don't know, I'm thinking this might be towards the end, or maybe even the middle, where she's going through the wreckage of the second Death Star, and she looks really sweaty, very sweaty there. Just look at her face; she's very sweaty. Transition across dissolve into Finn, looking at something through binoculars. I'm not sure where the environment is behind her, but it could be the same planet. It could be that new desert planet that was mentioned. I forgot the name already of it, but it was mentioned in magazines. Back to the lush jungle. Looks like George of the Jungle, that classic movie starring Brendan Fraser. So we might be getting a crossover with George of the Jungle. Maybe Brendan Fraser will play a role in this movie as the Emperor's second in command. Maybe Brendan Fraser's behind this whole thing. So we have a little image here of the Resistance building itself back together, going through some kind of meeting or a mission overlay where they're planning out what they're going to do, obviously. And we have Lando here. Someone speculating that this little guy right here might be Admiral Akbar's son, or somebody related to Admiral Akbar. But it's cool they might have another character here from the Mon Calamari to represent him after what happened. You know, Poe here. Some people are saying that Wedge Antilles might be making an appearance in this movie, so maybe Wedge is in here somewhere. But we have a lot of rebels. There we got Rose, our only good shot at Rose in this entire trailer. Don't know what role she's gonna play, but I'm guessing she's gonna be one of the leading efforts of the Resistance behind the Poes and the Finns of the world. And I'm not sure who this is here, but we do have our Charlie boy, our Merry, or is he Pippin? I forget, Merry or Pippin from Lord of the Rings. But we got Dominic Monaghan from Lord of the Rings fame and Lost fame in here. Don't know what he's playing. Maybe according to this, he's just some Resistance fighter who came to help fight the good fight. But it looks like this is in the same scene, which we'll see later, where they're riding on horses on top, or on the side, rather, of a Star Destroyer that's floating in the air on some planet. But I'm looking forward to seeing how big of a role he has, if he plays anything, or if he's just kind of like one of those higher cameo roles, like J.J. Abrams' friend, what's his name, Grunberg, who was one of the Black Squadron pilots behind Poe Dameron in the first movie, Force Awakens. Here we have, obviously, three major important characters, Finn, Poe, and Chewbacca. They're on the same planet that I'm guessing that Rey was training on, or whatever is going on at the beginning of this trailer. It's Yavin 4 or Endor. Probably, most likely Yavin 4. But it's cool to see these shots of characters together, which apparently we're going to get more of that. JJ said he wanted the characters to be together in this movie because of the separation of the last film. He wanted this movie, this is concluding the whole thing, so everybody's going to be together. So it's cool to see that. Then we have the shot of what appears to be, it's a Corellian Corvette, which is probably the Tantive 4, which is the same ship that was at the beginning of New Hope. Then cutting to what's probably going to be one of the bigger set pieces of the entire movie, which is the fight amongst the wreckage of the second Death Star between Kylo Ren and Rey. And looks beautiful, these big waves crashing. And you got the turret there in the background. Rey looking particularly angry, filled with rage. She's doing that little teeth grinding thing. Whenever she does that, you know something bad is happening or happened. Everybody's saying they know me. Rey's saying that, but no one does. And then we cut to Kylo coming through the water, crashing above, saying, "But I do." So very more the sexual tension returns. Also, I made a joke in my last reaction that Kylo Ren, Adam Driver, is soaking wet in this scene, and all the girls out there who, all the Reylos out there who love Adam Driver, a pretty obvious visual metaphor for how girls are going to be when they see him in this movie. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But he looks great. I love this shot of him being soaking wet, having the water crashing above him like it's Jurassic Park the ride behind him, and he's got his lightsaber, and it's just visually the blue and the red. It works. Cut to whatever the hell this place is. This might be where the Emperor ends up being. It looks like Antarctica, but I can't tell. It looks different, but you can make the argument that this bottom area over here is like, it's water and it's reflecting off the top. But then again, it doesn't look the same down here that it does up here. So this is kind of reminds me of Bespin, Cloud City, where it's just this floating glacier. I guess, this giant floating glacier, and all these TIE fighters from the First Order are coming in through. It looks similar to the environment that we saw, or are going to see, at the end of this trailer, where Rey is supposedly confronting Emperor Palpatine. So maybe this is where the final confrontation is. Maybe this is some place in the middle of space, some weird space glacier asteroid. Or this is some planet that has floating glaciers. But I see stars in the sky. I see stars in the background. Looks like there's some kind of city. This looks very similar, this area, to the shot in the first trailer where we see a ship flying through this little city, and it's snowing. And this might be, I'm guessing this is the same location as what we're seeing right here. People have already thrown this out there online that this is taken straight from the Ralph McQuarrie concept art that was made for the Return of the Jedi movie with Emperor Palpatine, the Emperor, Sheev himself. Before they made what they made for the throne room for Return of the Jedi, there was a concept of him having like these spikes coming out of the back of a throne, and visually it looks incredible. It doesn't look very comfortable. Jeremy John said that already. It looks like not the kind of chair you would want to sit in for more than 5 seconds just because it looks cool. Now we see the Star Destroyers that are rising out of ice. So, and they're the old school Star Destroyers too, not the new First Order ones. So these are old school Imperial ships. And this, okay. So there's a couple shots, or there's a big shot in the last trailer from D23 that shows the Imperial fleet in the sky, really imposing looking, just waiting to wreck shit. So it looks like this is the same. I guess this is on that glacier planet, or if it's a planet, it's in that planet, or they're rising. Because unless that glacier is that big, this is probably a planet that has floating glaciers or something. Getting really weird and speculative. But that's what the Star Wars fandom's about, right? I don't know. It doesn't seem very practical to keep your fleet underwater, under freezing water. I guess we'll get an explanation for it, but visually it looks great. It looks cool seeing them rising out of like this enormous ship coming out of the ice like that. It looks great. Okay, and then we get one of the biggest, coolest shots in the entire trailer, which is the entire Resistance Rebellion fleet behind the Millennium Falcon, which is leading the charge. And I'm guessing, can't really see in here, but I'm guessing Chewbacca and Lando are in this, in the cockpit over here. But it looks like we're gonna get this big space war that we've been waiting for all three of these movies, because we didn't really get it. Besides Rogue One, this is gonna be the big fight. Kind of similar to, I guess, Return of the Jedi. So we're seeing a lot of Return of the Jedi vibes from this. Hopefully it's not a carbon copy. I don't mind the homages and the elements taken from Return of the Jedi for this movie. I just don't want to see the movie copy the same structure as that. But I don't think we're going to get that. I think JJ is smarter than doing such a thing. But we'll see. But the biggest thing about this is that we have the ship from Star Wars Rebels right here next, right behind the Millennium Falcon, to the right here. So I'm guessing, I said this in the last video, but I'm guessing Hera Syndulla is piloting the ship, and maybe Sabine is on there. Maybe her son Jason is on there. Zeb, whoever. I'm definitely Hera, but whenever, I don't think this is probably an Easter egg. We're not going to actually see the characters in the ship, but it's cool to see the ship and these characters fighting alongside everybody else. And this whole thing with the Emperor saying that you're coming together, which I'm assuming is Kylo and Rey coming together, because I think he is gonna at some point be redeemed and fight with Rey. He says their coming together will be their undoing. So obviously he has a plan. He always goes 5 steps ahead. I know what I want. Him having everybody come together is exactly what he wants, I'm guessing, in his big plan, his big scheme, whatever. I guess we'll find out at the end of this movie with a big expository dump. But that's the thing. Here's a classic scene. Looks to be like the classic, having all the characters together in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon. We got that in New Hope. So we have Chewie, Rey, Finn, Poe, and C-3PO in the background here. Then we got another shot of the lightsaber battle on there. There's some ship blowing up next to a Star Destroyer there in this scene right here. And this is a pretty massive explosion. And it looks like it's going to be, they're placing a lot of emphasis on the ship blowing up in that particular moment. So I'm guessing it's going to be a very important moment. Either turn the tide of the war, and this is going to be a point where maybe we see the dark side at this point is winning the battle. And it's going to be like, oh, what's going to happen now kind of thing. How are they going to overcome this obstacle? We see one of these ski speeders, similar to the ski speeders from from Last Jedi on the planet Crate. Finn and Poe probably going to see Rey. It's very urgent because Rey and Kylo are fighting on the Death Star, obviously. I still don't think this is the end of the movie. I think that glacier thing is the end of the movie, possibly. But we see in a shot later on with Finn screaming Rey. But here's the most emotionally heartfelt part of the trailer, where taking one last look at my friends, and then we get R2 being like wee wee wee. So yeah, C-3PO is doing something self-sacrificial here. We see in the trailer before this one that he has red eyes. People are speculating if he's going to be reading some Sith texts, or if he's piloting a ship, or if he's going into like some kind of like war mode, kind of like if you've seen the Iron Giant, when the Iron Giant robot goes into like full metal alien mode and just wrecks everything in his path and has no sympathy or remorse or humane presence. Like, he just becomes a straight up like robot monster. Maybe that's what's happening here, and he's doing it to save his, like, to help save the resistance and help win the war. But yeah, very, very sad because C-3PO has always been known to be a very kind of rude, but charmingly rude coward. So to see him do something that's the opposite of being cowardly in helping fight and doing something that's of major importance does have emotional weight given his character stature. But it'll be sad to see what happens this Christmas. This nice pull dolly shot of Chewbacca, Poe, and Finn going through, I guess, a Star Destroyer. But yeah, maybe they're in the same Star Destroyer that's kind of leading the pack for this war, and they're trying to take it down. Really cool shot, though. We've seen the shot before, but very heartfelt moment. See BB-8 on this little like pirate ship thingy, and they're being chased by some kind of new stormtroopers that have jetpacks. We saw that in the first trailer. And I'm guessing this is... And then we get the little woo! Finn doing the woos. We get a lot of woos from him in these movies. Got Lando smiling. Chewbacca with his little headset chilling too. A lot more fun. So it's going to be a very grandiose, epic ending, but it's cool to see an emphasis on everybody's having a good time. But it's obviously not going to be like that the entire movie. So we'll see what happens there. This is one of my favorite shots in the entire trailer. Is this Y-wing just doing barrel rolls, flipping, going towards the belly of a Star Destroyer, getting ready to destroy it and destroy one of its cannons. First of all, I love Y-wings. One of my favorite ships in all of Star Wars, and it's cool to see an emphasis on a Y-wing. Very nerdy, but cope with me for a second. It's cool to see a shot like this where a Y-wing is just going nuts, and this fuels the nerdiness in me to see this. The saga will end. Here's the shot I was talking about before. We have these very Return of the King-esque, very Lord of the Rings-esque, with these space horses on the side of a Star Destroyer, and they're not in space. If they're on some kind of planet, they're obviously floating really high, probably 20,000, 30,000 feet. It looks like they're leading the charge for something, like they're about to fight somebody. BB-8's on the side here too, if you go back a little bit. If you go on the side right here, BB-8's right amongst them. Very fast ball. Get out of my way, ball. Story lives forever, yes, because it's iconic. Star Wars, the whole shebang. One of my favorite shots of the whole trailer, too, is that moment. So I'm guessing, I don't know if they're about to fight each other, or I guess they're about to talk to each other. And also not sure if this is before the fight on top of the Star Destroyer, on top of the Death Star, or after it. But we're in the famous throne room from Return of the Jedi, obviously all wrecked up. And we got the throne of the Emperor in between Rey and Kylo. I'm guessing this is going to be a moment where they're talking to each other. They don't look so confrontational here, but I'm guessing this is either the beginning of that, or they already fought, and this is them kind of like, whew, something happened, and they have a revelation with each other. So that's the moment I'm saying of Rey, and you see Janna, the new character played by Naomi Ackles in the background here. So Finn likes to do two things in these movies, apparently. He likes to scream, woo, when something cool happens, and also scream Rey when something bad happens to Rey. So, obviously, this is a continuation of the scene, I'm guessing, where Kylo and Rey are fighting each other on top of the wreckage, and they catch up on that ski speeder, and I don't know if he has important information or if he's just scared for her that she's about to die at the hands of Kylo, but, they're good friends, so it's a friend being concerned for another friend, or it's something very urgent that he's trying to get, something he's trying to inform her on before something bad happens. Then we have this. This had me so confused the first time I saw it. I was like, what are they destroying here? And I don't know if they're fighting each other and they accidentally destroyed this, or they're doing it together and they're fighting together, because we just saw them fighting each other 2 seconds ago in the trailer. Now suddenly they're helping destroy a relic, or it kind of reminds me of like the Horcruxes in Harry Potter, where they're kind of destroying these things to weaken the Emperor or weaken Voldemort. And Kylo has his helmet in this scene, and it looks like they're on like Bespin. Looks like they're on Bespin here with a very light, serene sci-fi background and like this little background here. All this reminds me of Bespin. It probably isn't Bespin, or it could be. It could be a vision, because like in comparison, very clean in the background and then very dirty, very dark, gothic going on with probably Darth Vader's helmet, or there's something that's enabling the Emperor to be as powerful as he is and still alive. So maybe they're fighting together here, but whatever. move on. We got the bromance and C-3PO in the background. Nice shot. Continuing the same shot of the horses on the side of the Star Destroyer with the fleet, the Imperial First Order fleet. Getting ready. I mean, just chilling here. There's so many of them. Oh my god. There's so many of them. Wow. So you're seeing all these different kind of ships flying around. So it's probably going to be a very epic scene. I'm looking forward to seeing this entire space scene in its entirety. But this isn't in space. This is on some planet, just very high, elevated above the ground. Visually cool, though. And then we have this really awesome medium shot of Kylo Ren looking at something with concern. And I don't know what the hell this all is. Might be a part of the apparatus that is helping the Emperor in this shot. Might be the same machine that's keeping him afloat. But you see the cloak there. I thought it was going to be like a vision of the Emperor, but it seems like more apparent now that the Emperor is actually physically there. People are also mentioning that maybe he's physically manifested in somebody else. Kind of like a Professor Quirrell in Harry Potter where Voldemort's face is on the back of his head. Or maybe he's literally possessing somebody else. But like he's barely living because like he's used this particular person for so long that he's just on the edge of death. So he needs this thing to stay alive. So because he's been in hiding for so long. Maybe he's using one of the First Order guards. Or maybe he's using the guy from that movie, Melissa McCarthy. The General Pride, whatever his name is. Because that wouldn't surprise me. Because he looks like a guy that the Emperor would take over. Because they have similar looks. But you got right here. And it looks like very ancient ground. It looks like they're in some ancient place. I don't know. Just that's what the ground reminds me of. But we're not going to see his face, obviously. And then you get a little... See, there's something... There's like an edge, like a cliff here. They're in some, like, ancient temple. It looks like they're in some kind of temple. Kind of like in Star Wars Rebels when Ezra Bridger and Darth Maul went to that ancient Sith area. And they found with the Sith holocron. It kind of reminds me of that. And also, just not enough context here, but it's interesting to see. Location-wise, I'm very interested in seeing what's going on here and what the hell this is. What the hell is that? And then we get one more shot where, Luke Skywalker saying the Force will always be with you, kind of like Obi-Wan with Luke at the end of New Hope. And then we have Carrie Fisher saying always, with this really cool close-up shot of Rey with the lightsaber, and she's almost like she's a little smile there. So it's almost like that's speculated. I don't know if this is the same scene as where she's fighting the Emperor or confronting the Emperor, but maybe she gets help from her friends, her dead friends, in a Leia and a Luke. Maybe they're there somehow, then they're uplifting her to do something. But I really like the shot because it gives a boast of confidence in Rey, who is the lead of this entire trilogy, and it's a cool shot to end on because it's awesome. And she's sweaty, and she got the lightsaber coming out of her pupil, her eye there, and that's it. Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker coming out December 20th. Got my tickets for Thursday night in Dolby Cinemas. I can't wait. And it's been about a half hour, and with that is the end of my trailer breakdown. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching if you've gotten this far. Thank you for watching this far, by the way. Please comment down below about what you thought about this whole trailer, little moments maybe I missed in this trailer, going through it, scene by scene. Ring that bell, and subscribe if you haven't already, because there'll be more Star Wars content to come, too, along with other content on just movies in general. But yeah, I think this is a really solid trailer. It doesn't really blow anybody away, but I don't think it's going to blow anybody away, given what we've been through, in this fact that we know the story, we know the characters. We just want to see, I think more than anything, at least for me, I just want to see how this whole thing ends. I want to see if JJ and crew could pull this off in ending a 9-film saga, doing what George Lucas started with the original movies, then with the prequels. JJ Abrams has a lot on his plate. He had a lot on his plate with Force Awakens, and he has a lot on his plate now. He's never ended a movie series before. I just want the movie to be good, satisfying, and worth seeing. For people who are casual audiences of Star Wars and people who have been fans for as long as they can remember. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Can't wait till December. And I'll see you guys next time. I'm John Maffio. May the Force be with you always. See you next time.